Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is Pastor David, and I'm excited to be able to come and visit you today in your home or your place of work and wherever you are. I'm thankful for the venue of technology that God has given us to use, and one of the benefits is to be able to come visit you right there wherever you are, and for you to come visit us here at the Community Church of Mount Pleasant. This is October 18th, and it's just amazing. Time keeps on going. We're over halfway through the month of October, and you know what's next. November and December, Thanksgiving and Christmas and food and holidays and weather and all of those neat things. And then coming up now, you got Halloween coming up, which kind of moves us into the Thanksgiving season and the Christmas season, so I love it. Did you notice the temperature this morning? We got down in the 30s this morning, I believe, and you got outside and it just felt like, okay, it's fall. It is chilly out here now. Maybe it's a little sweater time, and maybe turn the heater on in your car for the first time, so... I love it, and I guess maybe the change of season is good, and God is so good to give us 4 different seasons in one year. I mean, we don't get bored. I mean, we get a couple months and we're ready for something different, and here comes the next season and the changes and so, I don't know, I'm just kind of amazed at God and His creativity and how He thinks of everything, and we don't. So, I am glad you're here today. Let me just catch you up on a couple things. We had another great day Sunday. I was very excited to be back with the family, and after Mary and I had a Sunday off before, and we're away, and it was great to be back, and it just felt so much like home, this is my place and my people and the place where God has for us, and you as well. And I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for the home and the place and the people that God's given us, which is the Community Church of Mount Pleasant. It's a special thing to be a part of a family. Everybody needs a family, and I am just thankful to be a part of this family, and I'm excited about all the things that are going on. And we got lots of things up on our schedule coming up. And the next thing is, of course, our Fall Festival, which will be 1 week from Saturday. Now, a couple of adjustments. Normally, that's the men's prayer breakfast, but this month in October, we're going to not have our men's breakfast because we're going to all focus on the Fall Festival. We're going to come early, around 11 o'clock, and cook. We got to do some food prep and then be ready to start at 3 o'clock, 3 to 6, and we'll serve people and have games and just a fun time for the community at our new leased property, the Pinto property over here on East Franklin Street in Mount Pleasant. So I'm excited about that. And then as we move into November, a couple of other adjustments. Now, the Thanksgiving holiday is our next men's prayer breakfast time, so we won't be doing anything on Thanksgiving weekend except the classics. I think they have some things going on, but what we're going to do is November 10 and 11. November 10, we have a father-son camp out right up here at the Rice property. And that Saturday morning, the 11th, we're going to cook breakfast and have kind of our men's breakfast on the November the 11th. And so that will open up our Thanksgiving weekend for family and travel and all that. So I think that's a really good plan. A lot of neat things going on. We are collecting, we're collection dates for Operation Christmas Child. Our shoe boxes, remember our shoe boxes? We put together goods and we send them somewhere on a foreign field for children. And they have the Word of God in them and a gospel presentation. And so we will be involved with that November 13 through 20. Watch your bulletin and you'll hear more announcements about that. And then we talked about Sunday, a wonderful idea from our Journey team called the Journey Jar. And so we presented our little jar a few weeks ago, and kids came up, put money in it and change, and the Journey team came up with a great kind of a takeoff on that, and they got labels for us. And these labels they say Journey Jar, so you take a label. We provide the labels for you on Sunday. You take a label, put it on a jar at your house, so you can have your own Journey Jar and change, loose change, Anything you'd like to do to put in there? And on November 26th, Thanksgiving weekend at church on Sunday, we're going to bring our journey jars and present them to the Lord, literally. And families can bring their jar, and we'll give those jars to the Lord, and all of that will go toward our building process, our building fund, and the land is purchased, and we're ready with plans. And so I think it's a great idea. So get your journey jar ready. We're a month away to present them on Thanksgiving weekend to the Lord as we move toward our new home, our new facility. So we're excited about that, okay? All right, we started Sunday our new series from the book of Daniel. Have you ever read the book of Daniel? Well, we're going to do a 6-week study, and study number 1 was from Daniel chapter 1. It's very six simple weeks. Chapter 1, week 1. Chapter 2, week 2. We'll go through the first 6 chapters of Daniel for 6 weeks. And the first week was Daniel's daring decision. And in verse 8 of chapter 1, he decided that I will not defile myself with the things of this world, with the things of the Babylonians, with the king's diet and drink and fun and games and food. And he said, I am committed. I'm making a decision that I'm going to not be defiled. And I thought, wow, that is powerful. And so we see Daniel's daring decision, and then we'll see what happens after that in the next 6 chapters. And this Sunday, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be fun Sunday. We're going to see the king Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And this was a crazy dream. He dreamed a dream, and then he couldn't remember the details of the dream, so he asked all his magicians and interpreters. He said, you guys, somebody tell me the dream, and because it bothers me, and I'm scared about it, I'm concerned, I'm anxious, and none of them could help him. But Daniel could, because God gave Daniel the dream and the interpretation. Well, I don't want to preach my message, but this dream is crazy. He sees this big giant statue, and the statue is explained, and it has worldwide implications that even have to do with the world we live in today. So we're going to get into a little bit of prophecy this Sunday from Daniel chapter 2. Don't miss Sunday, Daniel chapter 2. It's going to be good. You're going to enjoy this series on Daniel. Okay, let me give you a couple thoughts today. I know you're busy. I know you're into your day, so I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I've been thinking about Daniel. And you know, we've heard the term dare to be a Daniel, and dare to have the courage and make a decision, make a choice that Daniel made. And I was thinking of some words that describe Daniel. Maybe you can think of some more if you want to share them with me on our Facebook page or just on Sunday or text or whatever. Some things about Daniel. Daniel was different. He was clearly, as a 15-year-old boy, he and his 3 friends, they were set apart from all the other kids that were captives. And he was different because of his diet. He was different because of the clothes he wore and the lifestyle that he lived, and he chose a life of purity. And Daniel and his friends were different. Daniel was also very disciplined. These words start with a D. So he was different and he was disciplined. See, he made a decision, but making a decision is not all there is to it. In fact, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You have to have discipline to make your decision become a lifestyle. And Daniel did that. So he was different, he was disciplined, and he was dedicated. How dedicated are you? How dedicated are you to your job, to your work, to your boss, to your family, to your hobbies? Daniel was very dedicated to his God because he felt that loyalty to the one and true living God was the most important thing. He did some things that were risky. He took some chances, but to him it was worth it because he was so dedicated to his God. So he was different, he was disciplined, and he was dedicated. And the other thing Daniel was, he was very decisive. I mean, he made a choice and he stood on his choice, and so there's 4 D's for you. But real quick, Philippians chapter 2, I want to read a couple verses for you today because this reminds me of Daniel. Philippians 2, when you make a choice, you have to follow through, and here's how we do it. Chapter 2 of Philippians, verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as so ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but how much more in my absence. Paul says to the church, thank you for obeying, and you're good when I'm there, but you still obey when I'm not there. Wow, that's good. That's good. That's what Daniel did. And then he says a phrase here that's important. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Now, that doesn't mean you work your way to salvation. You can't, the Bible says that salvation is not of works, lest any man should boast, but it is a gift of God. Your salvation is based on the grace of God. But after you accept and receive God's grace, we are to work out that salvation. So it's already in you. You begin to work it out. And Daniel did that. He worked out his salvation. I love that term. Don't be confused by that. Don't be frustrated with that. Don't get caught in a conflict there. Grace is what brings you freedom and spiritual freedom and salvation. But once you have God's grace, you begin to work out and live out, literally live out your salvation. Verse 13, for it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do his good pleasure. Verse 13, it is God. And Daniel, you know how many times Daniel would do great things and the king was impressed and Daniel would say, no, it's not me. It's not me, it's God. It's all God. It's all about God. Don't take any of God's credit. Don't take God's, it's all God. Verse 14. Wow. This one's dangerous. Do all things without murmurings and disputings. Do you realize how many times Daniel could have got frustrated and literally what this says is, do all things without arguing and complaining. Don't argue, don't complain. If you have siblings, then you know all about arguing and complaining. And I did. But Paul says, do all things without arguing and complaining. Daniel didn't. He didn't. He could have. Boy, I would have if I was him probably. He was a captive as a teenager, but he didn't. Verse 15. I want you to see verse 15. And why do we not argue and complain? So that we may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom you shine as the lights in the world. We don't argue and complain so that we can be different in a world that's looking for something different. And when the world sees you and you face hardships, and you don't argue, and you don't complain, and you don't gripe, and you don't have a bad attitude, the world goes, wow, there's something special about that guy, about that girl. So you have become a light to a dark world. And I close with this verse. Holding forth the word of life, the word of God, which brings life, so that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain. What an example Daniel was, a teenager, to us, as we see in Philippians chapter 2. I hope you have a great day. It's a beautiful day. You go out there and enjoy it. And I really hope to see you on Sunday as we look at Daniel chapter 2. Thank you.